Hello again, and welcome to the Heavy Metal Marksman podcast. I'm Dave Candido, your host, and I have with me an awesome guest here, Caitlin Lucas.
Hi.
And what we're doing here today is just kind of an author showcase, kind of a get to know Caitlin a little bit, learn a little bit about her, what she does, what she writes, maybe what drives her to do it, so on and so forth. Maybe get a little, couple little examples of what she writes, and go from there. But yeah, Caitlin. So thank you for joining, and pretty awesome. Caitlin and I have been following each other for a little bit on Instagram. She's a fellow poet like myself. And what do you write anything else other than just poetry?
I do actually. I just recently wrote a memoir about my life, and I have children's books as well, but they're still all unpublished because my goal actually with those was to get them traditionally published instead of self-publishing. Um, but it's just been a struggle trying to get into that world.
It
So,
is. It is. It really is.
yeah.
I I have only self-published. I've self-published two books. One nobody's ever going to see except for me, or if a person enters my house and sees it on my bookshelf. But it is not a nice book. It's by nice I mean quality. It's very amateur. It was something I did when I was a senior in high school. My high school had at the time what they called a senior project, and you could have straight A's all year round. But if you didn't do the senior project, they wouldn't let you graduate. Um,
Oh.
and they only did it for like 2 years, and then finally they didn't do it anymore. I'm like, of course, I was in like the last year that did it. Um, but my senior project was writing a poetry book, and it was probably about it, what you would expect a high schooler to. Your typical high school guy to. I
Yeah.
shouldn't even say that. It was just an amateur book of poetry.
What
At the time, I was really proud of it, but now I'm like, no, get out of here.
what what did you publish it on?
So at the time, I this was in 2009. Um, I didn't I didn't know anything about publishing. I didn't know anything about self-publishing. I didn't think it was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing. And I found a company called Morris Publishing, which is not really. It's not like Barnes and Noble. It's not like Amazon Kindle or Amazon Publishing. Um, it's basically just a printing company in which you could send your manuscript into. It doesn't matter what your book is, your
Okay.
content, anything. Your covers. They have pre-made covers. They charge extra if you do your own. And for me, I don't even remember what it cost. I mean, this was in 2009, but I had 100 copies shipped to me, and I'm pretty sure I spent like $200 or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was. I didn't even pay for an ISBN or a barcode. It was just as bare bones as you could get. Um, but I have one copy left. I'll save the story for some other time. But I threw away probably about 20,
Oh,
25, 30 of them. Um,
why? Why
uh,
did you throw them out?
just life happens. Um,
Aw.
it
Well, at
was
least you have one, you
I have
know?
one, yeah. There's
Yeah.
people that do have, like my sister has one. I think my
Yeah.
mom might have one. My uncle has one. So there are still some out there if they haven't been thrown away by other people as well. But
Yeah.
I will not throw away my only copy for sure, even though I don't like
Yeah.
it. Um,
I I've gone back and looked at my poetry from when I was a teenager, and I'm just like, but
yeah,
I've actually rewrote some of them. Some of them had, good ideas, but I don't know. I've kind of formed my own style over time. So, like back when I
of
was
course.
15, I was just starting out. So, I don't know. Some of it makes me cringe a little bit, but I don't know. It's still cool to look back and like what where your
Excuse me.
head was at that time point.
Oh, of course, of course. I
Yeah,
mean, a life dictates how we write. Um, most of the time, I the situations we're in, the relationships we're in, or that we're
yeah,
not in, the things we have, the things we want, the places we go to. It's all, that's all what contributes to uh, you know, our writing. And for me lately, it's I try to challenge myself all the time. Sometimes I feel like I'm challenging myself too hard because I keep having days where I'm like, oh man, I can't do anything. But
Yeah.
I what you see on my profile is basically pictures that I take, and then I try to write something for that picture, or I'll write something and then try to find a good picture for it that I've taken. But anyhow, we're not really. The other book that I did was self-published. I tried to use Amazon KDP, and originally it was fine. What The reason why I didn't go through with it completely um, is that they omitted a picture in my book. It was a piece of
Oh,
art, and there was no reason, no rhyme or reason. I didn't get any email. It was everything when I submitted my manuscript was approved. I think it was just a printing error, and there's no way to contact them. And so I ended
really?
up going. I went with Barnes and Noble instead. I have that
Oh,
I have one copy from Amazon before I just like got rid of it. In which case, probably I don't know, maybe later today or tomorrow I might show like a here's one from Amazon, here's one from Barnes and Noble. Um,
yeah.
excuse me. The print quality on Amazon was really nice. I don't know if I could have selected different options on Barnes and Noble now that I think about it, but the Amazon one, my pictures were had they looked a little more rich in color, and they were kind of glossy. My Barnes and Noble one was a little more kind of satin or matte,
Yeah.
and just a touch less rich. And but otherwise, the Barnes and Nobles was a lot easier to use,
Okay.
um, and there was not as many hoops I had to jump through in making my cover. It was exactly what I wanted, and they didn't omit anything, and so that's why I went there. But
That's cool. Yeah, there is actually an option on Amazon KDP where you can select what kind of pages you want in your book. So if you want
I remember
glossy,
that.
yeah, you can have glossy. If you want matte, then you can have matte, and you can pick the size of your book and stuff. But yeah, it is kind of finicky. And so I actually always have someone format my book for me that is a professional at that
Oh, cool.
because um I know if I did it personally, I'm afraid that I would make too many mistakes and it would be too much hassle, so I'm just like, "Format it for me, and let's go."
Yeah, there you go. What
Yeah.
so how many books have you published?
I have 8 altogether now, 8
Wow,
poetry books.
good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I try to write every day, and not everything that I write every day is, like, book worthy, but eventually the poems accumulate, and it's like,
Oh, they
"Here's my
do.
next book."
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
they sure do. I got about 8 binders in my closet to the left of me that's all poetry that is everything I've written except for what's on Instagram since I want to say December of 2012. And there was a couple of years in there where I really didn't write anything. I stopped. Why? I don't know. But yeah, no, you're right. It accumulates. It
yeah, and then it's hard to go through everything, like, you need a system to organize all the stuff for a book, and I think that's originally what delayed me from publishing because I got overwhelmed with the process when
yeah.
I first published my first book. Yeah, because I didn't know how to publish, so I was just Googling things and, like, just trying to research how people do it. But yeah, I got overwhelmed. I'm like, how am I going to separate these poems so they flow in the entire
Yeah.
book? And then it was just too much in my head. But then um I don't know, then I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna put it together. I'm not gonna like think too much about it. And somehow it ended up flowing like that. When I finally released my brain from thinking too hard about it, I was able to push it out. So
Well, and you did it 8 times.
yes.
So
And now that I got the first one out of the way, now the other ones, they come easy now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to do this, this, and this, and boom, there you go.
I think like anything else, it's just getting your feet wet. You know, with most things that people want to do or they think they want to do, they want to try. I think the thing that stops us most of the time is just nervousness,
Yeah.
um, intimidation by the process. Um, I know that's what kept me from putting my last book out. I wanted it to be released in mid 2023, and part of me is glad I didn't release it then because I had more material that I ended up putting into it when I actually did release it, which was mid 2024. Um, my book is basically we go to a lot of concerts, and like on the rack you see behind me, that's all music for the most part,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
there's like 400 something CDs back there. I shouldn't collect as many things as I do, but oh well.
And we don't
um,
even really listen to CDs anymore, but yeah, it's still cool to have them, and
well,
and albums too.
yes. So I have
Yes.
my my LPs are downstairs, my records are downstairs, and our CDs are there. Um, I used to have an awesome stereo that was like a really good quality boombox. They don't make them anymore. There were Sony Explodes, and the sound was fantastic. And I wasn't interested in records. Because of how large they are,
Yeah.
even though they're thinner. I just thought like, no, I don't want all that space. Well, now here I am collecting vinyls too. Um, but
It
no,
has
so
a cool, like, a cool classy sound to it, like that
it
little
is a
tiny static in the background, you know?
it is so what happens, I've wanted to get an analog setup for years now, and I've been talking to one of my best friends lives out in he's pretty much my best friend, lives out in California in the Sierra Nevadas where I'm from.
Okay.
And he we've always been going back and forth about, like, oh yeah, we got to get a vinyl player, we got to get, whatever. And finally he gets one. And he's the kind of guy that he dumps so much money into the highest quality stuff when it comes to that, because he's also a musician, and a very serious musician. Even though he's not in a band or anything, he just loves playing and he loves music like I do. And so he gets this $190 record player, and he's like, man, this is amazing. And then what's he do? He's showing me like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting this turntable to $1,000, but I mean, I really don't need two. And I told him like, well, you really don't need one. So I don't know what's stopping you. And I was just kind of messing with him, but he ends up buying it. And he's like, yeah, I'll send you my other one if you want. I'm like, yeah, whatever you want for it. He's like, don't worry about it. Well, what shows up at my house a week later is a brand new turntable, not the one that he had. And it was like a $350 model. And I'm like, what are you doing? And, but he just, from years back, I gave him a VIP meet and greet for a band that we went and saw that was for me. And I'm like, you can go meet him. Just give me the merch. And he's like, yeah, I had to pay you back for that. I'm like, dude, that was like 10
Aw.
years ago. But,
Aw, that's so sweet.
but, now I've got the itch now too. Like you said, it's like it's a warm sound. It's a wonderful, like,
Yeah.
organic sound. Like you said, the different noises and whatnot, the ticks, the ripples. Oh man, it's great. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
um,
my oldest son has a record player and he collects records as well. So he's got a ton of them. And actually his dad even has some like old ones, like the old picture Beatles albums and stuff.
okay, yeah.
But yeah, so that's what he listens to in his room. He's my music kid. He plays the guitar, and his whole room is just covered in guitars and basses and
Oh man,
yeah,
I have one guitar and I don't know how to play it.
really.
Yep, that's you can't really see it, but yeah, I got it at a meet and greet for a show I went to in 2020, right before they shut everything down. Um, Drove up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I was kind of bummed at first because the concert was also going to be in Kentucky the following week, which is closer to where I live in Missouri, but it never happened. So I felt pretty good about myself after that.
Aw.
But because of the way that COVID shut all the shows down and shut everything down.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so the reason why I brought up the music is because that's what my last book, well, my in my mind, my only real book, um, is. It's music related, rock and roll, heavy metal, primarily, but just musically themed in general. My appreciation for the industry, artists, bands. I go to shows, and those that permit, I'll take a picture of the band of one of their performances, whatever. And if it's a really good one, I'll write a poem for it about the band, their performance, the song, the album that they're performing, and however it inspires me to write, I write it, and then I still do that. But in this book, I think there's 33 poems or something, and I want to say 15 to 20 photos, a piece of art, and and that's my book. So if I would have published it in 2023, I wouldn't have some of the poems that I have in there. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad that I kind of lollygagged a little bit. But yeah, no,
So all your original photos from the concerts are in the book.
mhm, mhm.
That's really cool. That's
And I
cool
look,
to connect the picture with what
yeah, exactly.
ends up inspiring you.
So what it is when you open the book on the left, I it was this was kind of a pain because I've never really done this before, but I wanted to make sure that um, the picture would be on the left side and the poem would start on the right.
Yeah.
Um, so I had to make a few adjustments here in my manuscript to make it all fit because when I originally uploaded it, I was like, oh no, this looks terrible. Like everything was out of place.
Yeah.
But no, that was that. And um, I forgot where I was going with that. But no, that's my book. And it's same thing. I had to make sure. I was a little nervous about whether or not I'd be like getting any cease and desist letters or anything like because it's like I'm not stealing content or I'm not um, there's a thing about permissions. Like you can't have music in your videos or anything if
Yeah.
it's not publicly available or whatever it is. But I looked it up, and because I took the photos, it's my property, so I'm able to put it in there. And it's not
That's cool.
like I even put in the book, like I'm not trying to take credit for these artists' work. I'm giving my tribute, like I'm showing my appreciation. I think these guys are awesome, and here's what my poem that's dedicated to them, and so
Yeah, and it's kinda cool to see, like, how you connect to the music too, because I think with music and poetry, everybody connects to it differently, you know?
oh,
So it's
absolutely.
kinda cool to see your perspective of that. Like, I kind of like how, of course, like, when the actual writer is writing it, you're coming from a perspective, but it's cool that people can, take that into however they may, like, however, they can connect with it, so
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I keep trying. I think out of the, I don't know, 1800 poems I have, um, I've written maybe 3 or 4 ballads, songs.
That's cool.
Maybe not even that many. I don't know what it is, but writing songs kind of intimidates me. I also feel kind of funny, writing a song. It almost I mean, I've been writing for 20 plus years, but I still feel like I'm, amateur in a lot of ways, and, I almost feel, like, full of myself trying to write a song, but I shouldn't feel that way, but I don't know why. I just feel kinda funny with that,
It's
but
probably one of those things like we were talking about where you get intimidated by the process, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
There there's a really cool app one of my coworkers, showed me, where you can take anything you write. It doesn't have to be a poem. It could be a grocery shopping list, and it will turn it into a song.
Really?
I am not a big proponent of AI, but that said, this is really cool. I don't think it's the only one, um, but it is really neat. It's called
Huh.
Suno, 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 and I took a few of my poems and I made some songs out of them, and it's pretty amazing. I mean,
Really?
it even gives a voice. Like you can have it be female or male.
Oh,
Um,
cool. Can
um,
you pick the genre?
yeah,
Oh, okay. That's
yeah, you
really
can.
cool.
Um, and it surprised the heck out of me. Yeah, my coworker's like, "Yeah, man, if you're doing podcasts and stuff on that, you should check this out. If you write, you know, check out this app Suno." And he showed me a thing. I said shopping list because his daughter made a list of like groceries to go buy, and it made a song out of it. It's pretty hilarious. And
That's
one was like
funny.
just what she was doing in the morning. He's got a farm and animals and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I fed the pigs. I tended to the rabbits and blah blah blah," and it's making the song out of it. It was pretty hilarious.
That is so funny. Does it cost anything?
No,
Oh,
there's like you can pay if you want, like most of these apps, like there's always a paid version that's like gives you XYZ different options. But I try to not pay for anything.
yeah, me
Life's
too.
just
I
too
don't like to
expensive.
yeah,
S-
I don't like to pay
Um
for extra apps.
yeah, StreamYard, the service that we're using to record this podcast, I didn't pay for it initially, but there's a few options and abilities that I needed on it to where I'm like, okay, I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Basically, being able to record more than 2 hours a month, um, it's kind of silly. You would think that you could record and just save to your computer. Maybe it's 2 hours for the cloud, or I don't know, but I pay for it. Whatever. I work, so
Yeah. The only thing I pay for is there's this one app called PicArt, and I really like it for my poetry because I can crop it in that, and then they have a bunch of stickers so I can attach a picture to the poem, but then I can kind of play with the pictures a little bit. So depending on what the poem is, like I can put multiple pictures together and make it into my own little picture, So I don't know. I like that. And also they have pictures on there. So if I want to take an excerpt from one of my books or something, I can
Mhm.
find a picture that I don't know that kind of goes with it and then stick the quote
Cool.
on there. And so I just pay for that one because it's so easy and nice to have. So
That's cool. So
yeah.
that's kind of similar to what I do. You take a picture and you kind of go, it's supposed to go with your poem and whatnot.
Yeah, because
Cool.
yeah, sometimes you can't find a picture that is exactly what you're looking for. So it's cool if you can like add items to it or special effects or whatnot.
My first few poems on this on Instagram. Uh, I say my first few, but it was probably like my first like 20, 25, 30. Um, I was just going outside my house and taking pictures of stuff, or taking pictures inside of my house and looking at it and then writing. Um, and that was that was kind of nice. It was kind of like a self-made prompt.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember when I was God 16 and I had a poetry elective class. Might have been 17. Anyway, um, that was what my teacher did. Uh, he just gave us all pictures of stuff. And he's like, "Here, write about it."
Yeah.
And I remember that, and that was um, a really cool way to get your juices flowing in your head. Like on how to really think like, okay, this looks like that. I'm going to write that down. Another thing he did was, um, I have one now. I pull it out now and then, but a thesaurus. Um, he gave us all thesauruses, and he said, just find some words that you think sound nice and write them down. Write down like 15 words, and then make a poem. And and it's there's just so many different methods you can take and
Yeah, there
utilize
there
to.
is. There is so many different methods that you can use if like you're you kind of have that writer's block. I know that there is another thing, it's called a concrete poem, and you can go through magazines and clip words from magazines out and then
Oh,
put them all together and create a poem that way as well.
that's
But
cool.
it's cool how
Pretty artsy.
I think it's cool how pictures can inspire poetry, but also poetry can inspire pictures. And I think it can go both ways for me, but I'm kind of opposite of you. I feel like my poetry inspires the pictures. Like I'll come up with pictures in my head while I'm writing it, and then I'm like, ooh, that would be really cool to paint one of these days,
Yeah.
you know?
I go back and forth with that. I'll take a picture, write a poem. I'll write a poem, put a picture on it. Like my last two that I posted were, one was of my cat. I wrote a poem for my cat,
You're
and then
cute cats. I saw
I
that
did,
one.
yeah. And then the one before that was, I wrote a poem about a vampire. Um, my wife did. She used to get into RPG, like tabletop role playing game. Excuse me, and she was familiar with one called Masquerade, and it's all about different vampires and this and that. And I don't even remember why I started writing it, but I did, and it came out to be I don't know, something about a masquerade vampire, and I just that's
That's
what I did.
cool.
But
I like that. The just like going with the flow of things. I think that's the best poetry. It doesn't matter like what thought you have. If you have that thought, just flow with it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
I
when you don't want to like force thoughts. I think it's cool when you can just do that.
what happens to me all the time is I'll either be laying down to sleep or driving somewhere, and I get these, or in the shower, anywhere where you can't start writing, and I get these thoughts, and I'm like, oh, that's, I like where this is going, and then
Yeah.
I'm like,
I am
oh,
the exact same way. I do the same thing. Sometimes I'll keep my phone close to me in the shower because I feel like I was a mermaid in another life, but every time I get into water, my thoughts start going. I'm like, "Ooh, that would be really cool to write about." So, I'm like in the shower, reaching out of the shower, typing on my phone so I don't, lose my thought. Or it's like 3 in the morning and I'm in notes in my phone. Ooh, that's
exactly, yeah,
really
that's where
cool.
all my poetry is in my notes on my
Yeah,
phone.
that me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to you, because this is the showcases for Caitlin Lucas. Uh, I've been thinking, and I've been trying to get back into it to ask, but um, about how long, and this isn't trying to, find out how old you are or anything. I know most women don't like to talk about that, and I will not bring that up. But about how long do you think you've been writing?
Um, so I started writing actually when I was 15 years old. Um, During that time period, I was having a rough time. I was hospitalized with anorexia, and poetry was a way that I could express everything that I was going through at that time. And I had a creative writing teacher, like you had mentioned. I took a creative writing class, and she encouraged me to write whatever I was feeling. And it just took off from there. Like I fell in love with it because I think at that time period too, it was hard for me to communicate how I was feeling,
Yeah.
and it was just easier for me to put it into words on paper. So, yeah, but so I started when I was 15, and I've been writing ever since. There's been periods in my life where I stopped for a little bit, but it's always been a continuous thing throughout my life. And so I will say I am 40. So so I'm
You've been
40
writing
years
for a
old
long time.
now. So I've been writing since I was 15. I just had my big 4-0 a couple weeks ago.
Was it a good one?
It was nice. I spent it with my kids and it was peaceful. So um
Fantastic.
yeah, my coworker asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I said to her, all I want for my birthday is peace. So it was really cute. On my birthday, her daughter hand makes these Bibles, and um she paints on them. So she gave me a Bible that she had hand painted, and then she found these really cool verses that were about peace in the Bible, and
Mm.
she marked them off for me and highlighted them. And so she gave me peace for my birthday, and I thought that was like so beautiful.
I would have given you a piece of cake.
Yeah, that would have been funny too.
We were talking about how much we both
Like
love
puns.
puns,
Yeah.
and yeah, I irritate a lot of people with that, and that's fine. They'll get over it. But
You will never irritate me with puns. I think they're funny too.
I love puns.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Glad you had a good birthday there.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not too far behind you. But that said, I'm embracing the amount of youth that still flows through my veins. It's hard, as you know, aging. Even though we are still youthful, it is. We're not 18 anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, like mentally you stay youthful if you want to, but physically, stuff changes.
Oh man, yeah. I am clinging to what hair is still on my head. It is. It's not for sissies. Getting older, that's for sure. I've heard people that were twice my age say that, and now it's like no. I've had carpal tunnel surgery done on both hands. I've had 6 knee surgeries. Gallbladder's been removed. I'm like,
Oh,
what is going on here? I am 34 years old. You know, but it's like,
yeah.
it's just, I think part of that for me, my knees and stuff, I was very, very overweight when I was young. And I think that caused a lot of stress on my joints,
Yeah.
and never exercised or nothing. Well, as I got older, I started really getting fit and everything. I could stand to shed a few pounds myself here, but yeah, it's just it's the importance of taking care of yourself,
What is it in your knees? Is it like the cartilage, or is it
Oh yeah, I've
like a
just had knee
ligament?
scopes, orthoscopic surgeries. I've had just by luck, I guess, 6 of them. Um,
Wow.
and it's I can run, I can walk, I can do whatever. It's just it was more inconvenient than anything. I wasn't in a lot of pain for the most part. It was usually just my knees would get stuck. They get kind of locked up,
Yeah.
because I'd have my meniscus tore multiple times.
Hmm.
So just went in, had surgery. Wasn't too complicated, and they either repaired it or just cut it out, and that was that. Um, I
I
love.
had I had a ACL surgery on my
Oh man,
knee,
yeah.
but
See,
that
and
was back when
that's a
I
lot
was a
more rough than
teenager.
what I had.
Yeah, it was actually from so I ran track when I was in high school, and it was winter track, winter season, and I was triple jumping, and I think what it came down to was the sand was just stiff because it was cold and it
Ooh,
wasn't raked well enough. And my knees are kind of weird as it is because my legs kind of hyperextend. And so when I took the jump, it was just like boop, it popped, and I tore my ACL in half and my
oh,
meniscus as well. So yeah, so I have a nice scar on my knee from that.
did you write about it?
I might have back then. I don't remember if I have a torn knee poem, but probably because I turn everything into a poem. So
I'm gonna write that down. I think I might have to write about my.
there you go. New inspiration.
Torn meniscus. That's gonna be my breadwinner. The so what's out of all these poems in these 8 books and your years of writing prowess, I keep forgetting how to say that word prowess.
Prowess.
Isn't it such a weird word?
That is a
I feel like
weird
no matter
word.
what, I'm
Yeah,
saying
it's
it
like it
wrong.
almost sounds like you have a lisp or something like
I know.
prowess.
um, so what's your do you have a favorite topic that you write about, or is there something you feel like you write about more often than anything else?
Um, all of the stuff that I write about has to deal with mental health. So all of my books are about different mental health subjects. I mean, some of them overlap or whatnot, but
Sure.
yeah, they're all about mental health. That's that was my purpose getting out there with my poetry. I mean, not only because it's therapy to me, but also I feel like my experiences in life, I went through those, so I can help other people that might be going through similar things. So I like to put my poetry out there so people can connect with my work, on an emotional level or whatnot. And it's really cool because like I have people message me sometimes and they're like, oh, like I really connected with that poem. Like I really felt that. I went through this and that. And I love that. Like that is the purpose. But yeah, it's all mental health related. And I usually just go with whatever thought sparks my imagination in the morning and just let it flow. So
Right on.
yeah.
Cool. No, that's awesome. What was I about to say? So that's one thing that I'm always happy to hear, although I don't ever really hear from people about it. The best thing I get is compliments on my post. Wow, I love this. Wow, this is fantastic. So good. This is amazing. That's always awesome. I honestly just like seeing a like on my post, but that would make me pretty happy if somebody was, reaching out to me. Hey, I really, like you said, I connected with this. I feel this. And I think that anything you can do to relate to somebody else who's going through something, you know, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever. And if that helps them heal a little bit, then that's pretty significant, I think.
Yeah.
All it takes is one moment to help somebody out.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of cool to think about that even if you touched one person's life in your lifetime, like I mean, that's meaningful. It's just kind of cool that you can have that effect. I think one cool thing that I did was so I've gone through some abuse, domestic violence situations in my life. So my
Sorry to
second
hear that.
poetry book, The Ghost in the Red Dress, is all about that. And so we have a homeless shelter that's for women that have been victims of domestic violence close by. So I actually donated those books to that place. But then after she received them, she was like, oh, could you come in and do like this whole creative writing class with the girls? So I got to like actually go there and talk about poetry and healing through poetry and everything with the girls there. So I don't know. I really, really, really enjoy that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, I think it's about time. What kind of? I know you got some poems that you said you had for us.
I
I think
do.
I would like to hear one. So
Okay.
whenever you're ready, there.
So I will show the cover. This is my newest
The
book, my
Lucas
eighth
class. Huh?
book, Through the Lucas Glass. There's your pun. There's other puns inside it too, so you would like it. The first part is Mad Tea Party, which is about mental health. The second part is Off with His Head, and that one is about heartbreak, relationship type of stuff. And then the third part is Impossible Dreams for Breakfast, and that's all like inspirational poems, existentialism or whatnot. Um, yeah, but it goes along with the theme of Alice in Wonderland. So yeah, there might
I was gonna ask if there was a recurring theme with that. I was gonna wait till after you read the poem to ask, but you already answered my question. Um,
yeah,
me too.
there's an
Go right ahead.
Alice in Wonderland theme to this book. So it's really cool. And my good friend, who is also an indie author, CJ Pearson, was the person who edited this book for me. And he did an amazing job. So yeah. So I will read, actually, you know what? I'm going to read this one first. This one is from the third part, Impossible Dreams for Breakfast. I got to get in my poetry speaking mood. All right. So this one is called Your Mind is the Limit. They said I'd only grow to see the grass at eye level, but I grew to touch the petals on a fairy foxglove. They said I'd only grow to the size of a sunflower, but I grew until I was tall enough to pick an apple from a tree. They said I'd only grow to the tops of the leaves, but I grew up to the sky where the birds flew right next to me. They said I'd only grow to the height of the clouds, but I grew so high you'd think my feet weren't touching the ground anymore. They said I'd never make it into space, but I believed I could until the universe placed wings on my back. They said I'd never be able to reach the stars, but I flew so far it looked like the night was sprinkling glitter all around me. They said the universe was a dead end, but my wings kept growing and expanding boundlessly. My only ceiling is the limit I put on my own mind. That's the first one.
I like that. The last few lines there. They said the universe was a dead end. Your wings kept expanding. The only, you said ceiling. The only ceiling.
Yeah.
That's something that I think it's a really cool few lines there. And why is because you think of the universe as something that's never ending, but then if something like that is never ending, you might as well have just stopped, because if there's nowhere to go, then that might as well be the end too. And I've never
Yeah.
thought about that is a dead end. You just don't realize it. And with a ceiling and a floor at the same, I don't know. It just it really got my mind going there. But no, that's
Yeah,
a
I
really nice
think it
poem.
is cool to think about your mind like the universe. Like, I think that sometimes we put a cap on the possibilities in life, but the possibilities are endless. Our mind is just like the universe. The only limit that we have is the one that we put on ourselves. So it's
100%.
just, yeah, it's kind of cool to think about.
Well, that's awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Um, so this one's a little darker. Not all my poetry is light. It's light and dark. But I think also that there is a peace in darkness.
Sure.
I feel like, it makes you feel like you're not alone, because everybody has dark moments in their life, and it's kind of cool to connect with people on that level. Like, oh, like someone else has felt this, I'm not alone. Um, but this one is called Dr. Lucas. I'm as self-aware as it gets. I should have been a doctor. I know the process of how everything works. There's not a book that could give you the knowledge of what I've learned over the years. You may have read about anxiety, but I know the physiology of fear. I felt it firsthand, as if my skin was flipped inside out. I know every cell moves in my body like I'm a specimen on display. I dissect myself every day. I know the way my eyes open and close like they're window shades. I know how food tastes by following the signals to my brain. I know how to breathe like I'm holding a breathing bag manually pumping air into my lungs. I've studied the science of sleep and know where dreams come from. If I died, I could wake myself up again. I'm a mad scientist playing Operation in real life. I've seen actual butterflies in my stomach. I don't know the difference between reality and fantasy. My head is always playing games with me until I have to do every single thing consciously. It's exhausting after a while, being my own doctor. I wish I could take a vacation, but I'm on call 24/7.
That's really excuse me. That was fantastic. Very powerful piece. And
Thank you.
that's I'm I'm a bit of an intellectual. No, the I when I listen to that, um it makes me think of thoughts that a person really has. And I I I've had my fair share of moments where I'm thinking, man, I think I might need some help.
Yeah.
Um, and where, it doesn't really even matter where you are in life. It's just shit happen, things happen, excuse me. And, and you just, your thoughts just kind of go haywire. And that's the kind of thing that I know that or that a person might struggle with, might, uh, be trying to figure things out either with themselves, outside of themselves, and you kind of get this out of body experience mentally, like you're looking at yourself from the outside. What's going on? What is wrong? How can I fix this? Do I even want to fix this? And it's the things
Yeah.
that a person's going to think that other people think they're like a psychopath or that they're insane. And it's such a um sometimes terrifying, sometimes just crushing um, feeling. And, it can take a moment to go away. It can take months to get past. Um, like it's that's real. What you wrote, that's 100% real. And
Yeah.
that's yeah, I guess just like the people that have messaged you saying, hey, I really connect to this. I really connect to that. Um,
Oh, thank you.
that's that's a great piece, and not for the weak-hearted either. I would say. Um,
Yeah, the poem actually stems from, so I have OCD, and I've struggled with OCD since I was a teenager. So along with my eating disorder, I also had a lot of anxiety and OCD. So like back when I was a teenager, my OCD was more perfectionism related. So I would have everything organized in a certain position, and I'd have my clothes laid out for 7 days of the week, 5 articles per clothing. And like just everything was just very organized. And I'd take showers at a certain time of the day, and like it got to the point where I would get anxiety when things weren't done at those exact times. And so I got myself out of a lot of those bad habits. But then when I got older, my OCD turned into it's called sensory motor OCD or somatic OCD. And I will think about bodily functions. So I'll think about how my eyes roll back when I sleep, or how to even fall asleep, how I walk, how my eyes blink. And the worst one for me is breathing. I'll think about how I breathe. And so the part where it's like I feel like I'm have a breathing, like I'm manually pumping air into my lungs, that's what it feels like to me. Um, when I have those episodes, when I focus too much on my breathing, like I'll focus so much on it that it's hard for me to breathe, and it's just like my
yeah,
breathing is forced. And so yeah, that's kind of where that poem stems from, Dr. Lucas, how I kind of um dissect myself,
yeah.
like
You dissect, diagnose.
yeah,
Um, I would imagine probably try to treat as well.
yeah,
Um, man, that's incredible. Like, not like that's so cool. I mean, like that's I cannot imagine. I mean, if to even try to relate, which I'm not, it would be like Doctor David here. My back hurts. My knees kind of suck. And that would be the end of my poem. But man,
um
so even that's incredible as an author to be able to turn these things into great literature.
Yeah, like I think that's the purpose of art. I think um art is a way that you can turn all of the pain and bad emotions and stuff that you feel in life and turn them into something beautiful. Yeah, like that's the beauty of art. I mean, that's what's cool about painting and poetry and everything. Like you're using those negative experiences and turning them into something beautiful.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or you can take beautiful experiences and make them even more beautiful.
Yes, exactly. It can go both ways.
Sometimes I try with that, and I have this like drive to just I kind of with my writing, I you kind of touched on it earlier. I everything you might find on my page, it's only things that I 100% feel like they're worth reading. Because I have a lot of poetry that I'm like, I'm not posting this.
Yeah.
I will keep it because I think it's okay, but I'm not posting this. So
Yeah.
every time I want my next poem to be like better than the last, and I also try when I write a lot of my poetry is pretty intense. I write about like cosmic horror. I write about um, kind of existentialistic kind of things. I write about things with just more of a serious tone. But I do also write about like my very last poem about my cat. I love that guy, and that one's not existential. It's not creepy. It's not dark. It's not. It's about my cat and how much I love him. Uh,
Yeah.
and I every time I write something nice like that, I want it to be so like I want you to feel it in your heart when you read it. I don't want it to just be like a Hallmark card,
Yeah.
and that's my struggle because sometimes it'll take me, a week to finish one of those kind of poems. Strangely enough, my peculiar pieces, the strange ones, I'll write those in 5 minutes, and then boom, there it is. But maybe
Yeah.
there's something wrong with me. I don't know. But
It's kind of cool though, because you could be writing about a cat, and again, like your perspective is your cat, but someone else could read that and turn it into something completely different, like
yeah,
love with a person or whatever. So it's kind of neat like that you can create those emotions just based on that. Like I think everything is significant, even if it is a cat. It's a cat, but it's not just a cat. Like there's more to it than that.
of course. So
Yeah.
so I was going to comment on this, but I wanted to make sure you read your poem and everything, your poetry. That is a big book. Um, are all of your books about that size?
Oh, this is actually my biggest book that I've wrote.
Can you
But
hold
my
it like?
other ones, I actually have. What's that?
I was going to ask if you could hold it to where you could see the seam. Like, boy, that's a good size.
Yeah, this one I think is 200 something pages, like
Oh man, that's
217. Yeah, my thoughts were going crazy with this book. And my first book is a lot smaller.
that's about the size of mine.
Yeah, my first book is only 47 pages.
I think mine's 58, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, so this was my debut book, Floating Coffins, my very first published book. I had I had some people that read the book and they're like, "Well, I don't think poetry really needs pictures to go with it because I
No,
like how
they
a
don't.
poem can create a picture in your own mind. But anyway, there were some people that read it and they're like, "Oh, it'd be cool if you had like some pictures in here." And so for my next books after that, I have
I have some pictures in there.
illustrations that are connected to each chapter.
Cool.
I'll give you a sneak peek
Okay.
of Through the Looking Glass. This is
The Lucas glass through the Lucas
oh,
glass.
Through the Lucas Glass. There you go. I'm like losing my own pun. But
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is that art that you created or somebody that you work
No,
with?
I had somebody do it, and I've actually had people that are encouraging me to do my own art, which might come with my next book. I paint. I'm not a good sketcher, but I can paint, so I might have some of my original paintings in a next book.
That's
But
something that
no, for
you
now, I just like I like to just focus on the poetry, so I'll have someone design a picture to go with that theme. So,
that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's actually what was omitted from my book when I went with Amazon, and I didn't know why. There was no explanation, what have you. But it was a piece of art that my wife created, and it was actually of that little image you see in the screen there that says "Heavy Metal Marksman." That's me, and
Oh,
that's pretty creepy, I know. But it that was a Halloween costume for 2022, and that's an actual photo. Well, she took that and then like actually painted it, but painted like it on itself. Like it's like I've got two faces, kind of almost like a shuddering phantom or something. But
oh,
it was
cool.
really cool. And
So
she put
that's a painting, not a
that
photo.
one's a photo. That one
Oh,
right there is
okay.
a photo. But there's a version of that in my book that's of me that's actually a painting slash sketch. I think she used both pencil and watercolor. Um, and it was pretty cool, but Amazon didn't put it in there for whatever reason.
Oh,
Um,
that's so weird.
I know.
I wonder if it had something to do with because you know how you have to stay within the is it
Within a certain
the
boundary.
margins? Is that am I saying that right? You have to stay
Yeah,
within the
it could
margins?
be, it could be, but I mean, it'd be such a no, I don't think it is because I set the margins to everything in my book. Every other picture and photo was fine, but that is
Huh.
what it is. It's in my book now.
Yeah.
um,
Well, that
but
stinks. I'm that stinks that it didn't work out for you in Amazon. I haven't had problems, but again, like I have somebody that knows what they're doing format my book because I know I'd probably goof up if I if I tried to do it myself. I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out, but
of course,
I like to just be safe and know that it's going to work as soon as I do it.
sure, yeah. So the my next question here is are all of your books available? And if not, which ones are and where can you pick them up?
All of my books are available on Amazon.
Cool.
So I have a link tree. If you go to Linktree, Caitlin Lucas Poetry, um, all my links are on there. I'm on Instagram. But yeah, I've published all of my books through Amazon and they're available in two formats, ebook and paperback. So you can get all 8 of them on there. My cat's about to jump up in my lap. You might get to see her.
Mine are at my door, pawing at my door.
Aw, you closed them out.
I do only because I've had my pots. I've had my my cats on podcasts before, and they usually just they're a little invasive, um, in the most friendly and playful way, but it kind of takes away from what's going on. So
Yeah. No, she's been good while I've been talking to you, but,
when I'm by
um
myself, I let my cats in if I'm doing this, but
yeah.
with other people, I just But well, that's
Yeah,
cool.
sometimes when I do this stuff, she has this weird thing with sounds. So if she hears a sound coming through an electronic, then she like goes nuts and she'll come up here and she'll start rubbing against it or she'll nibble on it. So, but she hasn't done that yet, but she's staring at me.
My female cat, my cats are Trooper and Talon. The white one that I have, you see on Instagram all the time. He's the one I wrote the poem for. He's Trooper, and Talon is the black one. She's so Trooper we brought home from Brazil. That was very expensive and inconvenient, but I love him very much. So
Aw.
in the end, it was worth it.
He's
He
a
was
beautiful cat.
he's the best. He was only like 4 months old when we got him. He jumped out of a bush at me when
Aw.
we were walking home from dinner one night, and he just was meowing away. He followed us a little bit, and then I just picked him up and brought him home, and we took him to the vet. We got his shots and everything, got him cleaned up, flea medicine, and just started taking care of him. And then we had to do what we needed to do to bring him home, and it was a big pain in the butt. to
Oh,
take a cat out of Brazil and bring it into the US. It
I
was
was gonna ask how that worked.
so it was we had to, for one, we had to buy a ticket for him on the plane. It was $100. That wasn't that big of a deal, but making sure that, oh, there it is.
Yep, there she is. You say hi,
What a
Atlanta.
pretty kitty. What's her name?
Atlanta. I got her from the
Atlanta.
Humane Society, so
Okay.
she's gonna bite me. She already had that name when I got her,
Oh,
but
sure.
it works because I lived in Atlanta for 7 years, so it
I
was
get
like destiny. So, all right, now get your butt out of the screen.
that was on display. But yeah, no, had to get a ticket for had
Sit
to
down.
get a ticket for him. And then we had to go through the Brazil's Department of Agriculture, I think, something like that, and make sure, like, get things signed off. Like, it's almost like getting a passport and stuff. It was really
Jeez.
difficult, um, really difficult, expensive, and it just was what it was. And but we did it, and it was like last minute thing too. We almost weren't able to bring him home, and
Aw.
but we were, and that was a very long trip home. Uh, he he was in a carrier for almost 15, 16 hours,
Oh, that's
and
rough.
like he was out of it for a total of probably 15 minutes. My poor wife going through security in Houston was the worst experience. I will probably never fly out of the country through, or I hope to never fly to the Houston airport again, period. But um, the carrier we had for him was completely mesh, like just thin see-through mesh with like big holes, and you could completely. There was nothing to it. There's no pockets, no bags. It was just like a mesh carrier,
Yeah.
and going through. She had him on her shoulders, and he was okay for a minute. But
Aw.
that carrier went through the X-ray, and then as it was getting out of it, it turned over, and they said, "Oh, we have to run that again." And I'm like, "Why? Why do you need to run that through again?"
The cat carrier.
Exactly. And they're like, "Well, because it turned around." I'm like, "Look at it, man. There's nothing there. Like,
That's funny.
it's like a window screen. Like it's
Yeah.
seriously." I'm like, "What is the point of this?" And I told the guy, I'm like, "Look at, like, she's over here suffering, man. Like, because our cat was like just on her back, and he wanted to get the heck out of there. And
Yeah, I
I
didn't know
don't
what
blame
the
him.
heck
He'd
was
been in
going
that thing
on.
for like almost over half a day,
Yeah.
and we still had another flight to get from Texas to Missouri,
Oh.
and then we still had an hour and a half drive home. I felt so bad for both of them. She
Aw,
didn't sleep on the plane. I don't think he slept very much. It was just, ugh.
that stinks. Yeah, that's a really long trip for a cat. Like, I know when I moved from Atlanta back to Pennsylvania, um, I had to drive a Penske truck with my cat, and that ended up being like 13 or 14 hours. And yeah, it's hard traveling with animals for
It
that
is. It
long.
really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we brought him home, and he's just blossomed into such a good little buddy. I
Aw.
got such a good deep connection with that guy. I love him so much, and I love my other one too. We got her from Kansas, some cat cafe, if you even want to call it that. It was basically just a shelter with a Keurig. Um, there is a fantastic cat cafe in Kansas City called Whiskers. Um, really cool place. But anyway, we went to this other one. We went there looking for kitten, um, and we didn't find a single kitten. We found those with the head siblings, and we didn't want to really separate it, and blah blah blah. And then Talon, she just came up, and as we were about to leave, sat on my wife's lap and just looked at her, and we just
Aw.
decided right there, okay, she's the one. We brought her home,
Aw.
and and mind you, she never sat on my wife's lap again. So it was like,
She's your baby.
yep, yep. And we brought her home, and uh for about a month they did not mesh right, and we were like, did we make a mistake? But now they're like best friends. They'll sleep together, they'll clean each other. This morning they were cleaning each other on the bed, but then they started fighting. That's how it usually goes. They'll start
Yeah.
cleaning each other, and then she started beating the crap out of him. and it's pretty hilarious too. It's like it's not like bad. It's just it's just it's kind of pathetic. He doesn't know how to defend himself. He's just like I,
That's funny. My cat's kind of like that too. She's not a fighter. She tries to be intimidating, but she's like a little runt, and she tries to stick the hairs up on her back and poof her tail up, but she's not a fighter.
well, and she loves, absolutely loves. Well, most cats love boxes, but she
Yeah.
has just like this complete affinity for. I mean, we get seltzer waters. We don't drink too much soda really at all. Actually, we get like bubbly and LaCroix or whatever it is, and I will rip open the top and just so set it on the floor. And she's kind of chunky, and she goes and just plops herself right into it like it's no big deal, and it's so funny. Funny, but yeah, no, pets are
Hilarious.
great. I
Cats
love
are
my cats.
cute. I love cats.
Um, but yeah, so anyhow, so a couple other things here I wanted to ask you. Kind of, I'm just curious. What kind of goals? If I mean, it seems like it's pretty clear you've already hit some goals within your literary career. You've got 8 books. That's incredible, and you've got more on the way. It sounds like.
Hmm.
We I want to write some children's books too. We've got some projects, colloquially, or not. I'm sorry, not colloquially. Simultaneously, my wife and I, that we're trying to get through. When we'll do it, I don't know. But um, I've got stuff I'm really excited about that I'm gonna still keep hush hush about, just because of how
Yeah.
much I am really loving it. But it's not just gonna be a poetry book. I think it's gonna be a novella. Um,
Oh, cool.
and I don't know. I'm really excited about it. It's something that's going to be kind of mystical, mystifying, cosmic, but there's going to be some fantasy things there. I don't know. It's got to be the biggest project literary that I've come up with, and it was one day just on a whim. Like I started writing all this stuff down. I'm like, what do you think about this? And it's, wow, this is like, you thought of this. Yes, yes, I did. So that's very vague, but I'm pretty excited for that. But what
Yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds like something right up my alley. So,
I will share that with you off
yeah,
of this. But
yeah.
um, the what kind of goals do you have now as far as your literary career, or
So,
just in general?
I think my goals are I want to continue writing, of course. Like I said, I make an effort to write every day. So, continuing to write and publish books. I do want to try to traditionally publish, but again, that's a hard business to get
It
into.
is.
And I try, I
It's
do
very
try
humbling.
all the time, but I just have not got my foot in the door that way yet. But I do have children's books that are also related to mental health that I wrote that I think have good themes to them. Um, but I have those in the memoir that I wrote. And yeah, I want to just keep writing. That is my passion in life. I love writing. I mean, writing is my life. It's been the only constant in my life. And aside from writing, I mean, there's other things that I would like to do. Um, so my first one is I want to dance with a hula hoop. So I
Dance with a
actually,
hula hoop.
yeah, I wanna do dances with a hula hoop. So I ordered myself a oh, she's tapping my butt. Um, I ordered myself a hula hoop, so I got that underway. I got myself a longboard. I wanna learn how to longboard,
Oh man,
but I don't wanna do tricks. I just want to sway. I wanna learn how to sway because I have this vision in my head of swaying on a longboard in a dress in the summer, barefoot with headphones on. It's like just the image in my head. So I want to do that. That's a goal. um, what else? Oh, I want to go to Mexico for Day of the Dead. That's another goal.
Mm,
Um, yeah,
I'm not
but
surprised. That's quite the significant sugar skull that you have. Uh,
On my
pretty impressive.
chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love anything skulls, sugar skulls. I have lots of skulls in my house, and usually when people are stumped what to get me for a gift, they're like, "Oh, Caitlin, skulls," and they'll get me something that has to do with skeletons or skulls. So,
I
like,
mean, it's
for
pretty
my
obvious. Any bonehead could figure that out.
yeah. My brother, for my 40th
Good pun
birthday
there.
this year, he got me, I'll show it to you, hold on. He got me this wood
Oh,
engraved,
that's really cool.
skeleton and
Oh,
cat,
the
the
cat mom.
cat mom.
That's super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I get gifts like that all the time.
Yeah, Day of the Dead. I'd imagine that'd be very significant. Um, very. That's one thing I love about not only talking to different people, but going to different places is seeing how different cultures are. A lot of people say that, and I think half the time they're kind of full of crap. But it really is interesting. That's one thing I came home with. Glad that I learned things about different cultures when I deployed to the Middle East, and then when I traveled to South America to Brazil. Um, the first time, and then subsequently the second and third and fourth time. But is just learning what life is like and seeing what's important to people
Yeah.
culturally, the different faith-based systems. Like it's cool. And Day of the Dead, I can imagine all the different energies there.
Yeah. I
Whew.
think it's really cool too. It's neat how so like we celebrate Halloween and, dress up in costume or whatever, but for Day of the Dead, it's more of a celebration
Honoring,
of
yeah.
life, and I just love like all the little traditions they have where supposedly they so I have marigolds that are beside the sugar skull, and that's because they sprinkle marigold petals from the tomb to their home, and it's supposed to lead the spirit from the grave to
Mhm.
their home. So like they're celebrating their the loved ones that had passed away. They're celebrating their life, and it's just really cool. I like
That is
that
cool.
spin on Halloween or whatever.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Right on. And then I don't know, where would you like to see yourself in the next decade? Do you think you're going to be like what what's who's Caitlin Lucas going to be? Is she going to be a New York Times bestseller? Is she going to be on top of the world literary like or
I'm going to be both. You're going to see me in the headlines, New York Times bestseller. um, no, I would. I mean, I do have that dream of being traditionally published and
same?
someday being able to reach an even greater audience. But one of my goals is that I want to put myself out there more. I do my social media thing. I've done open mics. I haven't done a lot of festivals. So this summer, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
into more festivals because I've been told um, I would probably do really
Oh
well at
yeah.
something like
Well,
that.
that's the thing too. You don't have to do like huge conventions, but there are all the time. Like at least in my area, there's
Yeah.
different conventions here and there. And like you get yourself a booth, bring a couple boxes of books,
Yeah.
sign them, whatever. And one of my best friends who I started doing the podcast with, he makes comic books and they're professional. They're super cool. Like they're original. It's not superhero stuff. It's just original stories. And but he's a super talented guy. And he does the same thing. He goes to conventions here or there. I ask him, how much did you sell with this? And he's like, yeah, I broke even. Or nah, I didn't sell much. But the thing is, he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
And like you said, the more people that you connect with, the better. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do right now professionally with my actual career that I have right now with the cable company. Um, excuse me, is just getting people to know who I am. Um, I want people to know what I can do. I want people to know that I'm here, and I want them to know who I am. Because
Yeah.
if you don't put yourself out there, you can't sell a product if it's not on the shelf.
Yeah, because I
And
think I think it's not just your art, but, it's you too.
absolutely,
It's your personality. Sometimes it's not just the material within your book that sells, but it's
absolutely.
you, you know?
And that's
And
what I hope to help you with here too, with this. So, it's,
yeah, yeah, and I really enjoy doing these. Yeah, I like doing podcasts. This has been fun.
well, well, cool. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Um, that was really awesome. I want to say thank you for being on. Couple of great
Yeah.
poems from a pretty awesome book. I do love Alice in Wonderland myself. Um, I would definitely be a Mad Hatter for more than one reason. I got no hair, and I'm
You have hair.
kind of nuts. So, eh, some, no, that's a super cool book. I'm gonna be checking out your stuff on Amazon. I'm telling you that right now. Um,
Oh, thank you
and
so much.
the links for that, I will provide a link for your Amazon in this video once it's posted. And I encourage anyone and everyone to check that out. Check out Caitlin Lucas Poetry, right, on Instagram,
Yes.
and Caitlin Lucas. Is it Caitlin Lucas Poetry on Amazon too? Or is it just Caitlin Lucas?
It's
Or
yeah, it's all Caitlin Lucas Poetry.
okay,
Caitlin Lucas Poetry, Linktree, Amazon, Instagram.
cool,
It's all even my website is Caitlin Lucas Poetry. So you can
wonderful.
always find me by that.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, once again, it's a great time.
Yeah.
Caitlin Lucas Poetry, awesome author, poet, um, pretty cool person. Check her out on Instagram. Check her stuff out on Amazon. Give her some support. And yeah, thank you again. I'm David Candito and Caitlin Lucas Poetry.
Thank you so much.
Yep. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.